Sweet. Hello, everybody. Without further ado, let's just get started then. Welcome to our webinar, and let's get into it. And of course, I'd like to begin this presentation just by acknowledging that I'm presenting today from East Vancouver. Aline is presenting today from the West End. We have other folks from across BC, but I'm presenting from these beautiful lands and beautiful waterways where Vancouver is located, which is built on unceded, ancestral, Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory, and just wanted to acknowledge and give thanks to these nations for stewarding this land that we live and work and play on. And throughout this presentation, just wanted to encourage everyone to be mindful of how we interact with the land we live on, and how we let our cats interact with the land we live on, and just to how we each connect and continue to form relationships with the plants, animals, and people, neighbors in our communities. And to, if you're not familiar, take a look at whose land you're occupying today as well. So a bit of a background on the Stewardship Centre for BC. Our mission is to strengthen ecological stewardship by providing educational, technical, and capacity programs and resources to organizations, governments, the private sector, and the general public, so folks like us today, and just through collaborative partnerships. We run a few different stewardship programs, just one of them being the Cats and Birds program. So if you're interested in learning more about the work we do, that you can visit our website, which I'll link at the end. And some intros to your speakers today. So as I mentioned, my name is Bryna. I use she, they pronouns, and I work for the Stewardship Centre as the Cats and Birds Community Engagement and Outreach Coordinator. So I talk to people on the ground and in webinars like this. And I recently graduated from UBC with a Bachelor's of Science in Applied Animal Biology. So I come from a background of studying a little bit of animal welfare, some ecology, human-wildlife conflict, and I've worked hands-on with cats and birds in different capacities, from veterinary settings to shelter to wildlife rescue stuff. And my cat is also in this photo. His name is Kabocha. He's about 7 or 8, and I adopted him at the beginning of COVID. And he used to be a fully outdoor cat, but with about 2 years of leash training now, he is a fully indoor cat with supervised outdoor access. And I'll talk a little bit more about that through the rest of the presentation. But yeah, and now Aline will introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Aline Camargo. I'm a veterinarian and animal behavior and welfare researcher. I'm also part of the Cats and Birds committee member. And I'm here to help you understand a little bit of cat body language and how you can provide enrichment indoors and outdoors for your cat while preserving wildlife. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Sweet, thank you so much, Aline. So before we go more into the cat behavior aspect, I did want to provide more background on the cats and birds issue, just so that we can all be a little bit more familiar with why engagement and supervised outdoor access for your cat not only creates a positive impact for them, but also for birds and other wildlife and even people. So a little intro to the issue. Outdoor cats face life-threatening dangers, and of course they do have large risks to wildlife. But thankfully there are ways in which all members of the public, cat owners or otherwise, can help protect birds from decline while improving cat welfare at the same time. And what we want to do is make sure that we can help raise awareness, provide education, and take action to improve cat and wildlife welfare in BC. So a bit of a background about the bird aspect of the issue. So since the 70s, we have seen bird populations decline by almost 30%, which is quite significant. And this has implications for biodiversity. It can even impact how resilient our ecosystems are in the face of a changing climate as bird populations decline. And there are a few key factors for this decline that we're seeing. So first of all, habitat loss and degradation and development are significant reasons. Development for housing, industry, and agriculture leads to often permanent and irreversible habitat loss. So right now we're losing continuous expanses of green space, which are very important sources of food and shelter for both resident and migratory bird species. Another key factor are building and glass collisions. So there is significant bird mortality from collisions with windows and glass surfaces. And the estimate right now is between 16 to 42 million birds just in Canada are killed annually from collisions. And finally, there's significant bird mortality from predation by cats. So outdoor roaming, both owned and feral outdoor cats, are the #1 human-related source of wild bird mortality in Canada, with about 350 million birds being lost every single year. And when I say human-related, we're talking about those threats that are a direct result of human activity, for example, introducing and popularizing owning domestic cats. And as the slide mentioned, it is mostly feral cat colonies responsible, but owned cats who are allowed to roam outdoors and supervised still contribute to about 58 million bird deaths annually. So this is still a pretty significant issue. But the other part of the cats and birds issue are the cats. And so if you weren't aware, cats are actually North America's most popular pets, with about every 1 in 3 households owning at least one cat. So the estimate in Canada is that about 9 million cats are living in Canadian homes. But it's not just them. There are also a lot of feral cat colonies near where humans live too, with Environment Canada estimating up to 4.2 million stray and feral cats, which have the largest impact on wildlife. And it's not just birds that they're having an impact on. Cats are also preying on native mammals and reptiles too. But so something that we are doing is trying to bridge the bird welfare and the cat welfare. So how can wildlife, humans, and cats all coexist? Because this is not just a wildlife issue, it is also a cat welfare issue as well. So outdoor and supervised cats do live shorter lives than their indoor counterparts. They're at higher risk of unwanted pregnancy if they're not spayed, risk of injury from cat fights or wildlife encounters, vehicle collisions. They can ingest toxins from rodenticides or poisonous plants in someone's garden. Lilies are a really common plant used for gardens and landscaping, which are highly toxic to cats. They're also at risk of contracting diseases and parasites passed on from wildlife or other cats, which can also potentially be passed on to you depending on what it is. So the way that SCBC is approaching this issue is through a One Health perspective, which essentially works by recognizing that the health of people, animals, and their shared environment are all interconnected. And the most effective outcome will be by addressing problems through a multidisciplinary and holistic approach. So that's kind of what this project is trying to obtain by not just saying cats are bad, let's make them stop killing birds, but also recognizing that we need to approach the issue from lots of different perspectives. Now, for cat owners, we do have a checklist for the best ways to keep birds and cats safe. And we're going to be focusing on just a few of these checklist items for the presentation. So it includes keeping cats primarily indoors and allowing them supervised outdoor access wherever possible, while providing lots of play and indoor enrichment to help them display those natural behaviors and desires. And as I mentioned, these are going to be the best practices that we're going to be focusing on when introducing new forms of enrichment, like supervised outdoor access or even just new ways of playing. And and so really getting to know body language basics can be helpful when introducing new routines. So I'll be handing it over to Aline to dive deeper into this topic.
Thank you, Bryna. Okay, so what's your cat trying to tell you? How is your cat feeling? You can certainly tell through your cat's body language. So it's very important to remember that this will be a basic overview of cat body language. And when determining how a cat is feeling, it's important to always consider the context. There are many signals your cat gives with his body that convey what he's feeling. So becoming more familiar with some of these signals may reduce misunderstandings that can result in bites, scratches, or having your cat run from you. And your cat's body language communicates whether he wants interaction with you or will prefer to be left alone. And you can also tell whether he's uncertain or feeling threatened or just relaxed. So let's start. So, okay, the first clue is to observe their tail. Since the tail is an excellent mood indicator, it can be seen from far away, and its position can be read by an approaching cat. So if your cat walks up to you with a confident gait and holding his tail high over his back, chances are that he's looking for interaction, and it also indicates friendliness. Since the tail is easily visible when upright, he may also use this position when walking in grass or bushes to indicate to another cat that closer interaction is actually allowed. And sometimes when a cat is walking with a tail held in horizontal or half lowered position, it may indicate that the cat is feeling relaxed and confident. Also, a cat with a tail up high might be just twitching the tip of the tail. This position can indicate concentration and interest as well. Okay, so in this slide, we can compare this tail position with the previous one. So if a cat is crouched with his tail tucked tightly, this posture can actually indicate that the cat doesn't want any interaction and may be fearful, so he tries to appear smaller. He might be anxious and trying to look like a small target, as you can see in this picture. Okay, so in this picture, if you pay close attention, you can see that the tail is puffed up, and it can reflect a couple of moods, such as agitated or stressed or frightened, or even an annoyed cat who is trying to look bigger to ward off danger. A tail that slaps back and forth rapidly can indicate both fear and aggression as well. So you might have the idea of, let's say, a wagging tail and a happy dog, but a lashing tail in a cat normally indicates aggression, and he's trying to communicate something like back off, since he's not receptive to the interaction. Okay, so another way you can have some clues about their body language is through their ears. And a cat's ears have more than 30 muscles, and their cone shape captures and funnel sound. So this helps them, it makes like way more efficient than human ears, which are non-flexible and they have this cup shaped. So the cat's hearing is extremely sensitive, and they can hear higher frequencies than humans and even dogs, which is much needed to catch little squeaks from potential prey. So a cat's ears can also provide clues concerning the mood. So here you can have an example of a cat who is quite relaxed and his ears are slightly forward. Okay, so in this case, you can see that the ears are actually rotated and flattened against the sides of the head. They are sort of a T shape, and also this is also known as the airplane wing position. So this indicates that a cat may be in a defensive or aggressive state of mind, and he can actually be fearful or can be developing an increased irritation or aggression. This is very common in vet clinics visits, by the way, when the cat is fearful of the surroundings. So it's important to notice that this position can also be displayed if the cat has ear infections or ear mites. So you can check with your vet if your cat keeps his ears in this position quite often. Okay, I love this slide. So in this one, you can clearly see that their ears are held high and erect, which usually indicates that the cat is alert and interested. Looks like they just heard or saw something or someone, and they're very alert and interested in their surroundings. Okay, so now we'll learn how we can check your cat's body language through their eyes, sorry. So cats' eyes, they have a visual field way greater than a human. And you might have heard that cats are crepuscular hunters. So this means that they're most active at dawn and dusk. And because of that, they also have a reflective layer in their eyes to maximize light. And this reflective layer is what gives them that glow when there is sudden light in a darkened room. Probably saw it in pictures. When you take your cat's picture, probably you can see this as well. And as a crepuscular hunter, what matters most is movement rather than color of the toy, because apparently cats can only see shades of blue, gray, yellow, and also green. So the eyes can also provide valuable clues regarding his mood. For instance, in this slide here, we can see that when a cat is excited or interested in something, the pupils are generally round. So depending on the circumstances, it can also indicate fear or defensive aggression. So that's why it's so important to check the context and also other signs through their ears and tail as well. Oh. So in this cutie here, if you take a closer look, you'll be able to see that the pupils are slightly oval. And when the eyes are like that, it's an indicator of relaxation. So if the eyelids are half closed, the cat is probably extremely relaxed, if not almost asleep, like you can perfectly see in this slide. So it looks like this little one is about to take a well-deserved nap. All right, so these are constricted pupils and may mean that the cat is displaying offensive aggression, or he may be in a predatory mode, especially if there is a toy or a potential prey in sight. However, it's very important to remember that the pupil size is affected directly by the amount of light in the environment. So you always have to take that in consideration when trying to interpret mood through a cat's eyes. Okay, so now it's time to talk about body shape and posture. As you can see, an aggressive cat straightens the hind legs and erects the hair along the spine and tail to look bigger. So if a cat is standing side on to the tread with all his hair up, he's actually in defensive position and he's also trying to look bigger. It's like they're trying to say, you don't want to mess with someone my size, right? So this position is also known as the Halloween cat position because it's very common in Halloween decorations. And looks like this cat is getting ready to fight in case he needs to. Okay, so these two cats are actually showing a normal and relaxed posture. The tails are up, and you can see that the orange cat's tail is actually wrapped around the other cat, showing a sign of friendliness and greeting. And sometimes the cat can also wrap their tail around us as a sign of greeting or a sign that they are demanding attention or food. Okay, and here we have this little one and actually a submissive cat. So the cat will crouch to actually appear small and unthreatening, but this position also enables the cat to easily spring off in case they need to. So if this is a playtime, for instance, and the cat is feeling playful, he may even roll over as a gesture of appeasement, which also gives the advantage of facing the threat with his teeth and all his claws.
Okay, so we're gonna do a bit of a quiz. So we have a few photos, and I am going to get the audience to tell me what you think is happening in each of the photos. So based on body language cues that we've just discussed, take your best vote of what you think you're seeing from this cat. Okay, I'll give it 10 more seconds. I'm just gonna end it. So let's see. Most people say relaxed. Some people say excited / playful. And now, Aline, what's your take?
Well, my take is, looks like this cat was just sleeping and someone just went there and woke him up. But definitely for me, it looks like he's relaxed. But of course, we need the context, right? This is another thing, because if they were playing and the cat is relaxed, it can also be playful. But to me, it looks like this cat is relaxed.
Awesome. Okay, let's try another one. Raven's cat looks relaxed. Oh, so cute. Okay, what do we say? It looks like most people, I'll just share the results. Most people say anxious or fearful. One person says excited or playful.
Yeah. So if you pay attention to the ears, they are in the flat, the T shape, like the airplane wing position, which happens when the cat is displaying defensive aggression or he's very fearful.
Totally.
And this looks like it's like he's in the carrier in the vet clinic probably. So we're very used to see this kind of positions there.
Yeah, reach your hand and you might get bit. Okay, what about this one? Okay, yeah, most people say aggressive.
Yeah. Absolutely. So if you see the stiff leg, he's like side on to the tread. You can see the arched back and the tail trying to appear as large and threatening as possible. This is the Halloween cat. So definitely he's in aggressive mode.
Yeah, those really like thin pupils. Okay, what about this one? This is the last one.
Oh,
Awesome. Yeah, everybody got that one. So it was excited and playful, and the toy is really helpful in the context.
definitely helps. You can see the eyes are showing excitement, right? And the ears as well.
Totally. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully you're able to take that information and hopefully apply it to your own cats, whether you are thinking of doing some leash training, taking them outdoors supervised, or just trying to introduce new playtime enrichments. Like we recommend in this little checklist here to keep cats and birds safe. But now we can take some of that body language knowledge and let's apply it to enrichment. So we'll share a few different ways of safe outdoor access, and then we'll also talk about indoor enrichment and engagement. One option I wanted to share is that if people, usually if people have yards, they're trying to take their cats out on a leash, but sometimes it's nice just to have a cat who feels safe and comfortable in a yard and is able to just roam supervised in its own little space. If you're lucky enough to have a yard, I know some people in Vancouver aren't, but otherwise elsewhere in BC, most people do. There are a lot of great structures to help you modify your existing fence. That just makes it harder for cats to get out. These three, one of them is Canadian, but they all do ship to Canada and they have various price points. So the two on the bottom, these two little contraptions, are just kind of structures that you apply to your regular fencing. Makes it harder for cats to jump over the fences and leave the yard. It also makes it harder for other cats to get into your yard. So sometimes I'll also recommend this to people who maybe don't have cats but want to stop cats from coming into their yards. Of course, this isn't a substitute for supervision. It's still important to supervise your cat, especially if you have plants that might be irritating or poisonous to cats, or of course, if you have ways that they can get through a gate or under a fence. But it just kind of provides an extra barrier of support keeping them inside. Another option that you might have heard of are catios or enclosed outdoor spaces for cats, like a cat patio. There's lots of different ways to go about doing one of these. The BCSPCA carries a ton of free online plans for different price points and different ability levels. There's some IKEA hacks that you can use using some pretty inexpensive bookshelves and some just metal grid wire. There's also a lot of websites where you can go buy these pre-made for different price points. I have one that came like disassembled and I just put it together like a piece of IKEA furniture. Usually those will be a bit more expensive than making your own. And I will also suggest sometimes there are like handy people groups on Facebook where you can contact people and see if anyone's available to make a structure for you for a fee. There's also a lot of local websites for people to do this. And Aline, did you have any comments on Catios?
Oh, yes, there is actually a company from Edmonton that they just started doing this. It's Hellas Cat. I need to check the name, but I definitely recommend to check them out because it might be another option to Canadians.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And I can link that in the chat as well if people are
Okay.
interested. Another great option, as you're probably aware, is harness training. It's becoming increasingly popular. And yeah, Aline, I guess if you wanted to talk a little bit about it, and then I can share some experience as well.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk about harness training. And the first rule for a successful harness training is don't push or force the cats because then they'll never enjoy it. And leash training is much easier when the cat is young, of course, but it's always possible with adult cats too. So you should plan on taking your time with the individual phases of leash training. And but it's important to keep in mind that timid cats or cats who get aggressive in unfamiliar surroundings, they're not actually good candidates for outdoor leash walking. And the environment around their house may also not be conducive to leash walking, but the training exercise is still worthwhile. There are different kinds of harnesses, like this one on the left-hand side, you can see that is an H design, like an H on sideways. And there is also a cat walking jacket, like you can see on the right-hand side. And the most important thing about it is just to get the right fit so the cat doesn't slip away. This is the most important thing about harnesses. And the first step that you can do is to place the harness, like when you get the harness or the cat jacket, just place them on the floor so the cat can get used to the sight of it and also to the smell of it. You can add some treats close to it, but the most important thing, make sure that they can get used to the sight of it. After a couple of days, what you can do, you can put it on your cat loosely, but in a way that it won't dangle down and bother him as he walks, and then immediately distract your cat with a delicious meal. Let's say you put it on, offer a meal, and when the meal is over, you can take the harness or the jacket off. And you can do this a few times a day for several days, and then start increasing the amount of time that your cat wears it. When the cat wears the harness without any problems, then you can attach the leash for short periods, but don't try to hold on to it just yet. Just give more couple of more days. And after some time, you can start to hold the leash, and then you can stand in front of the cat and give a cue for him to walk up next to you and see how your cat responds. When you give the cue, you can also lean down and show that you have a treat in your hand. And you can keep doing this indoors until you're sure that your cat is comfortable being on a leash and doesn't have any negative reactions if the leash is gently tugged. One thing also, if you're planning to take your cat outdoors, always make sure to be up to date on his vaccinations, the flea and tick prevention, and also ID. And also always make sure to bring a soft-sided carrier with you, such as cat backpack, in case something frightens your cat. And also make sure to bring some treats in the walk. So once you've returned indoors, just remove the harness and the jacket right away.
Sweet. Yes, amazing tips. And because I've been working with my own cat, I thought I would include some photos. Yeah, and I pretty much, essentially everything Aline said is like so good down to a T. That's pretty much how we started. And if anyone is in the process of wanting to leash train, I've been doing this now for 2 years, and we're just kind of getting the hang of it now. It's just going smoothly. And I think it's also a great tip to just adjust your expectations. So not every cat will want to walk like a dog. Sometimes my cat, we go through the neighborhood and he just likes to sit on the neighbor's lawn for 15 minutes. you know, and then he's happy to go back inside. And other days he'll want to walk around the block and just like smell everything. So it really just depends. And it's great to have low expectations because, you know, a cat, they just kind of want to do different things than a dog. Some days he will walk everywhere, and other days he won't. So you can see he's here exploring the neighborhood, but he's also, the middle photo is him just on in our backyard observing from up above. And I would also add a great thing to bring on a walk is poop bags as well. So I don't know if anyone's experienced this, but my cat will always dig a hole when he's ready to poop, and then he'll quickly turn around and try to bury it. But just because sometimes their poop can contain, yeah, especially if are an outdoor cat, you never know. Sometimes they are known to carry a parasite called toxoplasmosis. This can be shed in the poop. As well, it can also spread like salmonella, other diseases. So it's great to bring a little poop bag, and just like with a dog, sometimes you got to dig it up, but it's great to just dispose of it in the garbage rather than letting it sit in a park, especially where other animals, wildlife, or even children can come in contact with it. So yeah, and I guess that being said, let's move on to some other forms of engagement.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you want to go with this one, Bryna? Okay, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with this option, but there are also some cat strollers in the market. This is particularly interesting for older cats who are used to the outdoors, or for those who, you know, they want walk on a leash, so they can still have some entertainment. A cat stroller can give the cat a chance to get some fresh air. It can also help with mental stimulation while providing a safer and also a more protected environment when you're out for a walk. There are some other things to consider, such as time for your cat to become used to it and also comfortable with it. And it's also important to consider the suitability of your cat and where you want to use the stroller as well. It's also worth mentioning that cat strollers are a more significant investment than the harnesses. So it's good to keep that in mind as well. Okay, so let's go to the fun part. Let's talk a little bit about playtime. So because cats, they are natural hunters, we want to make sure that our indoor enrichment actually stimulates this instinct. And a great playtime activity involves a cat practicing for the hunt. So it's good to stimulate stalking and making the toy move around past your cat. We can also stimulate the hunt, making the cat stalk and chase and catch the toy as if it was his prey. And it's also important to keep in mind that cats are stimulated by something that is moving, but that also stops for a few moments. So the toy needs to move in interesting waves. Let's say it can quiver, it can disappear and then reappear, it can fly and then dash past the cat. And keep in mind that it's very important that to let the cat catch the toy at some point of the playtime. And also you should offer a little bit of food or treats when the playtime is over in order to mimic a successful hunt. Okay, so here are a few options that I really like that you can use for playtime. And if you like to know like one go-to toy that cats normally love and that can help them exercise their hunting skills, I would recommend interactive plays with a cat one toy, like the first one. You can buy just the one with the feathers separately, but there are also other options that come with a variety of feathers and plush toys, which gives you the chance to test them out and see which ones your cat prefers. The second one is a toy called Cat Dancer. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one, but it's really good. It's also a very good and inexpensive option and similar to the wand toy. But this option is made of spring steel wire and rolled cardboard. You can also make your cat work for their food by using food puzzles, where you can add treats or food inside the toy. And then you just give it to the cat, and the cat needs to play with this toy in order to release the food. They can also be called puzzle feeders. This is also an interesting way to make them spend some more energy and exercise their hunting skills and get a reward. Okay, so let's talk about indoor enrichment and what you can do with things that you already have at home. So one thing that is important to mention in terms of indoor enrichment is high resting spaces. So cats feel safe and secure when they're up high and they can observe their surroundings. So high resting spaces also increase the amount of space in your house, which is really good, especially for cities like Vancouver, where you can live in a very small apartment. So these high resting spaces, they can be anywhere from 3 inches off the ground up to the ceiling, and they can include furniture like shelving, cabinet space, desk space, or any other sturdy object to which a cat can have safe access to. Also, if the high resting spaces, they're close to a window where the cat can safely watch what's going on outside the house, it might be even better. Cat trees are ideal high resting spaces, although they can be pricey sometimes. So here you can have some ideas of how you can, place regular furniture such as shelves and chairs, and how this can help with indoor enrichment for your cat. Right, so we also have scratching posts that are another essential item in terms of indoor enrichment. Cats they do have the natural need to scratch, and scratching serves many purposes. So they can stretch while scratching they're just scratching like on something sturdy, and it can also help reduce stress and also express excitement. Scratching also indicates their territory by placing a visual marker on the object along with a scent, since they also have scent glands on the pads of their feet. So scratching also helps to remove the dead part of their nails, allowing for a new nail to emerge. And I understand that scratching can become a big problem if the cat does not have a suitable and appropriate scratching option. So I'll recommend you to look for high and sturdy scratching posts made of sisal, which is the ideal type of rope for scratching posts. But you can also find some cardboard or wooden options that could work too. And another thing you can see in this slide is the cat grass. That is also something that you can consider. So cat grass is not a specific kind of plant, but a grass mixture that is grown from seeds such as wheat, barley, oats, rye. And it's not to be confused with the grass outdoors in your lawn, which has actually the potential to contain toxic pesticides. So cat grass is grown indoors and specifically for household pets. And some people even use popcorn as cat grass, which is also fine and inexpensive. And another benefit of cat grass is that it can be used as a deterrent from other dangerous or delicate plants that you might have in your house. And if your kitty likes to chew on, just tip over your house plants, cat grass garden may actually be a very good option for you.
Great. Wow. Thank you for those, all that insight. That's great. Actually, I want to go back to this other slide and highlight a really affordable and kind of like DIY cat scratching thing. So the picture on the right is for my cat. And so we had this really ugly, unsightly support beam in my place. So we did end up buying a few feet of sisal rope, which is what Aline mentioned. And so we've done it floor to ceiling. And this is also great for my cat to scratch on, but also really great for play. So I will hide like toys and treats up here. So he's actually able to jump and scale the whole thing, which is really nice because I feel like it is kind of a throwback to when he was an outdoor cat and was able to climb trees and get that kind of scratching up down behavior. So yeah, totally doable option and relatively affordable as well. And so hopefully we have covered enough information for folks to feel comfortable going back to our cat and bird friendly checklist for keeping cats primarily indoors, having supervised outdoor access, and making sure they get plenty of play, exercise, and enrichment. And if you do have success with what you've learned today or want to share how you're already engaging with your cat, either indoors or outside, you can take our quick survey, which I will link in the chat right now. Let me put that in there. Okay, it's live in the chat. And tell us how you keep cats and birds safe. You can also have the option of receiving this free window decal. It looks like the sticker here to put on your window or a car or your water bottle or anywhere visible, just to show that you support these best practices. If you also want to have your story and what you do with your cat featured, you can email us photos of just your cat and what you do with them, and we'll feature it on our website. We have a happy cat gallery where we feature cats and cat owners who do these best practices and to just inspire other people. These are also some of our materials that we currently have as free PDFs available on our website if you'd like more info at any point. They cover a lot of things that we have talked about, but they do provide more context to the greater issue. We also have resources for veterinarians and governments on our website. So I'll also link to some of our resources there. Thank you all so much for coming. If you have any questions after the presentation, feel free to email the email on the screen or contact us via social media. We are hosting events here and there, and we always post a bunch of good resources online. We have some new blogs coming out, so stay tuned. Yeah, follow us on social media for any updates, but otherwise, thank you so much for attending. Have a lovely night. It was great to see everyone and their cats.